Troubled: The Failed Promise of America's Behavioral Treatment Programs. By Kenneth R. Rosen. There's a lot more to unpack in Troubled: The Failed Promise of America's Behavioral Treatment Programs by Kenneth R. Rosen, and a fuller summary would better reflect the depth of the book's critique and exploration of these complex issues. Let me provide a more detailed account of its content, themes, and structure. Expanded summary of Troubled. Kenneth R. Rosen's Troubled delves deeply into the controversial and often hidden world of behavioral treatment programs in the United States, particularly those aimed at troubled youth, individuals struggling with mental health, and those battling addiction. Through a combination of investigative reporting, historical context, and real-life case studies, Rosen paints a compelling picture of how these programs often fail to deliver on their promises, and in many cases, inflict more harm than good. The book is a critical examination of the systems designed to help vulnerable individuals, focusing on the treatment methods, the economic motivations behind these programs, and the personal stories of those who have been subjected to them. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Structure and content breakdown. 1. The Promise of Behavioral Treatment. The book begins with an exploration of the original, idealistic promises of behavioral treatment programs. In theory, these programs, often framed as rehabilitative or reformative, are designed to help people, particularly at-risk youth, recover from behavioral problems, substance abuse, or mental health issues. They claim to offer a structured environment that can fix a person's behavioral issues through discipline, therapy, and a focus on positive behavioral change. However, Rosen quickly reveals that many of these programs fail to deliver on these lofty promises. They are often based on outdated theories, rigid methodologies, and a one-size-fits-all approach that doesn't consider the unique needs of each individual. 2. The Profit Motive and Lack of Oversight. A central theme of the book is the profit-driven nature of many behavioral treatment centers, particularly those in the private sector. Many of these programs operate with little to no regulation, and, as Rosen shows, are motivated by financial incentives, rather than a genuine commitment to helping clients. The book details how some programs are essentially businesses, and the focus on profit often leads to substandard care, abusive practices, and the prioritization of revenue generation over effective treatment. Some centers, especially for troubled teens, are notorious for using harsh, military-style tactics, emotional manipulation, or physical restraint to enforce discipline. These methods are framed as necessary for reforming behavior, but often lead to further trauma. 3. The Harsh Realities of Treatment Programs. Rosen spends a significant portion of the book describing the abuse, neglect, and psychological harm that can occur in these treatment centers. Many of the people he profiles have been subjected to abusive or coercive practices that leave lasting scars. For example, some adolescents are sent to remote wilderness programs or boot camps, where they endure grueling physical labor, humiliation, and psychological manipulation under the guise of therapy. The book includes personal stories from former residents of these programs, who recount experiences of verbal and physical abuse, isolation, and punitive methods that often exacerbate their issues rather than solving them. These individuals are often vulnerable and sent to these programs by desperate parents or guardians who believe they are offering their children a chance at a better future, only to see them subjected to harmful and counterproductive methods. 4. The failure to address root causes. Another criticism Rosen highlights is that many behavioral programs fail to address the underlying issues that lead to the behavioral problems in the first place. Instead of providing meaningful therapeutic interventions, many of these programs merely impose control or seek to change external behavior, without understanding the emotional, psychological, or social factors at play. For example, a teenager struggling with mental health issues might be sent to a program where they are punished for acting out, but their deeper struggles, key trauma, depression, or undiagnosed mental illness, go unaddressed. As a result, these issues continue to fester, leading to cycles of failure, re-entry into the system, or even more severe behavioral problems down the road. 5. The cultural and social context. Rosen also provides a critical lens on the larger cultural and societal attitudes that underpin these treatment programs. He examines the American preference for punitive, authoritarian approaches to behavior correction, particularly for youth who are seen as troublesome or difficult. This approach is rooted in the belief that individuals need to be broken down and rebuilt through discipline and structure. Rosen critiques this mindset, suggesting that it overlooks the importance of empathy, individual care, and the role that social and economic factors play in contributing to behavioral issues. For example, youth from low-income backgrounds, families experiencing domestic violence, or individuals from marginalized communities often enter these programs without the necessary support systems to succeed, rather than offering a more holistic, supportive approach. These programs often exacerbate feelings of alienation and hopelessness. 6. Personal narratives and case studies. A major strength of the book is Rosen's use of personal narratives to illustrate the real-world consequences of these treatment programs. The author interviews former participants and their families, giving voice to those who have been directly affected by these systems. These stories are often harrowing, showing the psychological toll these programs can take. Rosen includes stories of young people who were sent to wilderness programs or residential treatment centers, many of whom endured not only physical pain but long-term emotional scars. These case studies are used not just to criticize individual centers, but to illustrate a systemic problem in the field of behavioral treatment. 7. The way forward reforming behavioral treatment. In the latter half of the book, Rosen pivots to suggest possible solutions. While he is deeply critical of the existing system, he does not merely call for its dismantling. Instead, he advocates for reform in several key areas, including better regulation and oversight of behavioral treatment programs, to ensure that they are held accountable for the treatment they provide, a move away from punitive, one-size-fits-all models, and toward more individualized therapeutic approaches that take into account the specific needs of each person, increased funding for alternative, evidence-based programs that emphasize trauma-informed care, mental health support, and community-based approaches rather than strict discipline and control, greater focus on family involvement and support, as many of the issues faced by individuals in these programs stem from family dynamics and home environments. Rosen concludes with a call to action for policymakers, mental health professionals, and the public to re-examine the way society views troubled youth and those struggling with addiction or mental health problems. He emphasizes the need for a shift in thinking away from punishment and toward rehabilitation and support. Conclusion. Kenneth R. Rosen's Troubled offers a searing critique of the behavioral treatment programs in the U.S., highlighting their failures, abuses, and the harm they cause to vulnerable populations. Through powerful personal stories and a rigorous examination of the industry's flaws, Rosen challenges the assumptions underlying these programs and calls for systemic change. The book is not just a critique, but also a plea for reform, a more compassionate, individualized, and evidence-based approach to helping people recover from behavioral, mental health, and addiction issues. In essence, Troubled is a comprehensive, multifaceted exploration of an industry that, despite its promises of healing and transformation, has often been a source of further trauma for many individuals. It's an important book for anyone interested in mental health, addiction treatment, or the ways in which society approaches behavior and rehabilitation. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel.